All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, September 11th. We have a full MLB slate to jump into in today's video. Like we always do, we're gonna go through each and every game on the slate. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games. We'll talk about it, but all of my final plays, so what I'm actually rolling with myself, those will be in the pinned comments, so make sure to keep an eye on that. I always update it by game time if you do want to fade me, or if you want to ride with what I am rolling with myself. But like I said, a full MLB slate here. We're going to jump into each and every game, and we're starting it off with the Phillies taking on the Braves here. Philadelphia coming off of losing 2 of 3 against Miami, and Atlanta takes 2 of 3 against Pittsburgh. Here on the mound for Philadelphia is going to be Taijuan Walker, who has a 3.2 ERA over his last 5, but the team is 4-1 in his last 5 starts, much like Charlie Morton, the Braves, 4-1 in his last 5, and the dude has been dealing. Obviously, sort of a stud pitcher historically and everything like that. He's getting a little up there, but his last 5 games have been great. He's only got 3 runs through his last 5, a .6 ERA, and he's going up against a Phillies team that is starting to fall off against righties here. So I am going to lean towards Atlanta on the money line. Right now, the best odds you're looking at, -140-ish over on Caesars. I think that is fair juice to be paying. Give me Atlanta. Then I'm also going to take a peek at the over 9.5. I think that Atlanta, their offense looked back to some degree in that St. Louis series and then that Pittsburgh series. And then all of a sudden, Philadelphia, they're kind of hit or miss with their offense, but it's kind of a safety net pick too. If Charlie Morton goes out there and has one of his off nights, which he did even have a good night against the Phillies earlier this season, I think either back in May or June. But if he goes out there and has an off night, then I think the Phillies do pile on runs, but I think Atlanta stays right there with them and still edges Philly out and also scores a lot of runs. So I like the Atlanta Braves here on the money line as well as the over. All right, next up we have Pittsburgh taking on Washington. We don't know who is starting for Pittsburgh yet. They're coming off of, like we just mentioned, losing 2 of 3 against the Braves. Washington coming off of losing 2 of 3 against the Dodgers. So you have 2 tired teams that just played really good teams. Stole 1 in each of their series, but nonetheless ultimately did not really prevail, losing 2 of 3. The total's sitting at 9 right now. Pittsburgh money line -136. I know the graphic isn't updated because we still don't know the pitchers, so just FanDuel giving us lines right now. I think I'm going to lean towards the under, but I don't really have much of a huge lean in this game to begin with. So I think I'll lean towards under and keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if anything changes once we know who's pitching for Pittsburgh. Corbin pitching for the Nationals today, 3.6 ERA in his last 5, had 2 really bad starts against Toronto and then the Mets. Hopefully, if we like the under, he kind of reels it in today. All right, the Orioles taking on the Cardinals. They're heavily juiced at -162 over on FanDuel right now, but kind of rightfully so. Yes, the Red Sox steal that last game from them, but prior to, they had won 7 straight games, looking good. Going up against Dakota Hudson here, who just has not looked consistent. He's got a 3 flat ERA in his last 5. Dean Kramer, on the other hand, looking really good. Last 3 in terms of his ERA here, he's looking at a .54 ERA and a 1.08 whip. Like, what are we doing here? Obviously, they got the pitching edge. I believe they have the offensive edge too. Similar offenses, but this Baltimore team, head and shoulders as of late, say last 10 or so, above this St. Louis team. I think the -160 price tag is fine. I also like the over in this spot as well. We're looking at 9.5. Really, this Baltimore team just putting up a bunch of runs as of late. If St. Louis can even give them a little bit, which they have been giving, they've had a couple double-digit games and a couple, chunks of runs scored as of late too. So give me the over as well, but I like Baltimore on the money line a hell of a lot more than I do that over 9/9.5, depending on where you get it. All right, and then we got game number 2 of the Philadelphia and Atlanta series here. Obviously, I don't love doubleheaders. If you are new to the channel, I have like a double header phobia. I'm either pretty much betting the first one because it feels like the only game of the day or not at all. I do like the value on the Braves in the first game here. We know the pitchers unless that gets switched up on us. We don't know who's starting for Atlanta in the second game. I'm probably going to chalk this one away and pass it up. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. Maybe we throw something in there. Obviously, I still like Atlanta, but depending on who is throwing for them, I do like game 1 a lot more. All right, guys, before we continue on with the slate, I do want to talk to you about OddsJam. I've talked to you guys about OddsJam before, a really cool tool, actually a bunch of different tools on the platform to help us all beat the books. You can use the link in the description or the pinned comment. You'll get 7 days free, right? But on top of that, they're being generous enough to give us a discount code. You can use that link, and then if you sign up for a plan, you can use code GUYBOSS and you get 25% off your first month. Right here, we're looking at the sportsbook screen. You can compare all sportsbooks lines against one another, so you know you're getting the best value possible on any of your plays. Again, you can look at all of the plays offered, pretty much any play in the market. They also have a positive EV tool, which essentially is, why would you buy a car, I've said before, for 15 grand if you could walk 2 blocks down and get the same car for 10 grand? Ketel Marte right here, over 0.5 home runs, plus 560 on FanDuel. Across most sportsbooks, it's at plus 439. So there is some value there. Whether or not it hits a home run is still up to him, but the value in terms of what you're getting, the best price tag is there. They have an arbitrage betting tool, meaning you could take both sides of a bet and be profitable here for next week. Vikings and Eagles. If you take the Vikings over on FanDuel for plus 310, you could take the Eagles over on Bet Openly for minus 276, and either way, you make profit on that game. And then the fantasy optimizer, really cool. Takes into account all of Prize Picks or Underdog, Parlay Play, anything like that. All of the plays on there, compares all sportsbooks lines, so you know the value and percent chance to hit that you have heading into your Prize Pick slip. Guys, make sure to go check out OddsJam. Again, that link is in the pinned comment or in the description. 25% off your first month is amazing, and that link gets you just 7 days free. Why would you not go check out OddsJam now? Let's get back to the slate. All right, next up, we have the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Texas Rangers, and this one's weird to me. It might be because I like betting the Texas Rangers, but I think them at plus 126 over on FanDuel right now is a great spot. Yes, they've been struggling a little bit, but their schedule has been a hell of a lot harder than the Toronto Blue Jays, who have won 8 of their last 10. But literally 9 of those 10 games, 3 against Colorado, 3 against Oakland, 3 against Kansas City. Like, let's not fool ourselves and act like Toronto has been tested in the last, 2 weeks or so, whereas Texas had to play Minnesota and Houston, and then they played Oakland and won 2 of 3 against Oakland, just like Toronto did. So the value is there for me, plus 126 on the money line over on FanDuel. Hopefully Dane Dunning can get his stuff together. He's been a little off as of late, and Chris Bassett pitching for Toronto here. He's been good, kind of hit or miss. Last time out, he only pitched 3 2/3 against Texas, letting up 7 hits, 3 earned runs, pitching over 20 pitches per inning. So I like Texas in this spot. Hopefully they can get it together and get that offense going. That offense that was really, really good to start, and then middle way through the year kind of has started to fall off, but hopefully he can get it going against Bassett today. Again, they kind of tagged him last time out, and I love the value here. And then the total is sitting at 9 right now. These two teams, have averaged plenty of runs on the season. Texas for sure. I want their bats to get going, so I'm going to slightly lean towards the over, but, their bats have not been going. So me being like, I hope they get going, it's almost like me saying, I hope the over hits. So I'm going to lean towards the over, but it's not the most broken down findings or prediction effort. All right, Mets taking on Arizona, and we are looking at yet another underdog here. Arizona plus 120 on the money line is going to be my lean here. I don't really trust the Mets. Even though they have, shocked and played good baseball at times, they haven't as of late. They've lost 3 of their last 4. Minnesota really had their way with them in that series. They only won the last game 2-0 here. And Arizona's won 6 of their last 10. They took 3 of 4 against Chicago here. And I like their bats as of late. In their last 10 here against lefties, batting .284 against this Mets team who's pitching a lefty today in Jose Quintana. And the Mets struggling against righties. Righty on the mound for Arizona today. Zach Davies definitely has had his hit or miss type performances, especially as of late. Couple good games in there, but throw in a 9 earned run game against who was at Atlanta. So maybe that skews the stats. I'm willing to give the caveat that it was Atlanta, yada, yada, yada. But nonetheless, Mets struggling against righties. .247 average in their last 10 here, and only a .306 on base percentage, whereas the Diamondbacks edged them out a little bit there as well. So give me the Diamondbacks here for some plus money. The bullpen has looked good. Last 3, 2.45 ERA with a 1.06 whip. Looking at the Mets bullpen last 3, 6.89 ERA with a 1.63 whip. So I think they have the bullpen and the bats. We just need Zach Davies, the starting pitcher, to kind of go out there and do his thing and step up for this Diamondbacks team. And in terms of a total, we're looking at 9. Don't have much that I love on this. I guess I'll lean towards the over ever so slightly, because part of what I like here is that the Arizona bats seemingly, should be able to get going here against a Mets righty. So I'll take the over, but I don't think that makes its way into the final plays. Red Sox, Yankees. I wish these two teams are really fighting for something because huge rivalry, obviously one of baseball's biggest. But these two teams kind of stink this season and as of late here. Red Sox have won 8 of the last 10 that they've played against the Yankees here. They have Cutter Crawford on the mound, who has some seriously good looks against the Yankees. In the last couple of years, hasn't let up more than 2 runs against the Yankees. Going up against Clark Schmidt, who he's also performed well against the Red Sox. Give me the under 9.5 in this ball game. I think the pitching is going to go out there and play well. And again, it's a rivalry game, so maybe these pitchers kind of step up and the defense steps up to make some plays, that type of thing. So I'll take the under. If I had a gun to my head, which I don't. I do think I lean towards the Red Sox, just given the fact that, they're coming off of that win against Baltimore. Maybe that boosts morale a little bit, but the Yankees coming off a win against Milwaukee, which is a pretty good quality win as well. So I'm not really too, set on the Red Sox side of things, but the bats have been a lot better than the Yankees. Yankees against righties in their last 10, 188 average with a 273 on base percentage. Yuck. So give me the Red Sox and the under. You might be able to get under 10 on some books as well. We'll obviously get the best lines using OddsJam to make sure that we can find those. So keep an eye on the pin comment to see what we roll with. All right, we are halfway through the slate, and I want to talk to you guys about Sleeper. I've talked about it on the channel before. You guys got to go check it out, obviously, if it's legal in your states. My favorite DFS Pick'em app on the market right now. Why? Because they don't follow the normal payout structure like all of the other Pick'em apps out there. Each and every play and each and every player on this app has its own multiplier, so you can win up to 100 times over on Sleeper, which is literally crazy. And speaking of 100, actually, you get 100% of your first deposit matched if you use my link. I'll have that in the pinned comment for you guys so you guys can check that out. Again, this is a really, really cool app. They do tons of promos just like Prize Picks, the leader in this space, but Sleeper is really, really cool. Best known as a fantasy football app. They have a lot of good updates and quick updates and stuff too, so if you guys are out or in, that type of thing. But man, the picks part of this app is really, really cool. Go check it out, guys. You can pair up to 2 to 8 players in a slip, and obviously the amount you get right will dictate how much you get paid out. But go check it out. 100% of your first deposit matched up to $100 if you use that link in the pinned comment. You throw in 100, they're going to give you $100 free, and you're gonna have a new account balance of 200. Go check out Sleeper, guys. This thing is really, really cool. I know when I promote it, sometimes we get comments like, I can't wait for this to be legal by me and blah, 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 because it is really, really a cool app, and I've been preaching about it for a while now. All right, we are looking at the Brewers taking on the Miami Marlins here. Brewers, we just talked about it, had a pretty good series against the Yankees there. Miami coming off of a series in which they looked good against the Phillies too, winning 2 of 3 there. On the mound for them today is Jesus Luzardo, who in the last 3 games here has been pretty solid. Last 3 ERA for him is a 1 flat with a .61 ERA. Going up against Brandon Woodruff, who also has been pretty good. 1.42 ERA, which sounds like it's bad after talking about Luzardo, but 1.42 we all know we would take, right? With a .68 whip here. So 2 good pitchers on the mound. The only thing is these offenses also have looked fairly good as of late here, but in their last 10, the numbers don't really scream runs. So I'm going to take a peek at the under here. Just unfortunately, we're looking at a 7.5 line, which is a little bit too low to probably pull the trigger on, so maybe we can alt line it up to 8, 8.5, pay some heavy juice, but I do think it has a good chance of hitting. In terms of who I like here, I guess I lean towards Miami. I think that their series against against Philadelphia was a little bit more of a quality series than the Milwaukee Brewers against the Yankees team that, only put up 2 runs in a couple of those games. So give me Miami on the road here for some serious plus money at plus 135 over on Caesars right now. All right, White Sox taking on the Royals. We don't know who's pitching on either side for this, so we don't have lines, we don't have odds, but either way, this would be like scraping the bottom of the barrel and seeing what it smells like with these two teams. So I really don't have much of a play in this game, nor am I looking forward to the 3-game series of it. So let's just go ahead and move on. Minnesota taking on Tampa Bay. I think this should be a pretty good series. They did play back in June, which is when Tampa Bay was just kind of on their really good streak as well. They won all 3 games, Tampa Bay did. Minnesota, though, a better team as of late. Both of these teams have won 6 of their last 10 games here. Glass now on the mound for Tampa Bay. He's looked pretty solid as of late. Going up against Sonny Gray, who also has looked solid as of late. Has a couple games you'd like to throw out in his last 5, but nonetheless, still trustworthy. The total, though, is down at 7.5 now. And though I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, I don't think you can avoid that over 7.5. This can be a 5-4 game, feel low scoring. And even though it's not, right, it's because Tampa Bay obviously can put up runs that, like you read about, in Minnesota's offense hasn't looked too shabby as of late. I think they scored 0 runs, right, in that Mets game. But prior to that, they had a 20-run game just about a week ago. So that offense is kind of cooking. So I think that we're going to see a few runs in this game. Both pitchers probably going to have a decent night. 5-4 is my prediction in terms of runs scored. I like Tampa Bay. But Minnesota is a lot better at home here. So if you guys like Minnesota as the home dog, I'm not here to talk you off it. I like the over more than anything else. Astros taking on Oakland. I don't really think that this is one that we have to dissect too much. Astros are heavy favorites. They've won 9 of the last 10 against the A's here. Give me the Astros on the money line. It would have to be some sort of parlay builder throw in, because that is just not the juice that we're looking for there. Minus 300-ish. I would consider them on the run line, but minus 140 seems like it's still a decent amount to be paying if you are looking at a team to win by 2 runs. And the last time the Astros won, it was 3-2. They have a couple wins that they kind of keep it close. So I do lean Astros here. Money line, parlay throw in, straight bet, run line. But minus 140 is a lot of money and a lot of a price tag to be paying if you are looking to win by 2 runs. Total sitting at 8.5 here. I kind of like the under. I don't think that the Oakland A's offense is going to, definitely give you that much. So I'll lean towards the under as well. But again, this is kind of a game that we really didn't sink our teeth into all that much just because of how bad the A's are. Colorado taking on Chicago, the Cubs here. Wicks on the mound for the Cubs. He's looked okay, 1.33 ERA in his 3 starts this season, going against Kyle Freeland, who obviously has his struggles. I'll take the Cubs on the money line and the under 11.5. You guys know that I love fading the Rockies here when they get those big numbers at home. They are an unders team. They've cashed so many more unders than they have overs this season, especially when at home. So I'll take the big number. Yes, sometimes they're going to go up and over that because of the altitude and the elevation, blah, blah, blah. Got to hit the bat on the ball, which maybe the Cubs do today. I don't think Colorado has that much success doing. Seattle taking on the Angels, and I'm almost glad Seattle is so heavily favored with Logan Gilbert on the mound going up against Reed Dietmers. Because you guys, if you watch every day, you know this. I banned Seattle, right? They burned us way too many times, literally like 6 times in a row, right? So I banned them. But I kind of like the spot for them today. But minus 225? That's not a spot that I like. That's way too much juice to be paying for the best odds. I think it's like minus 240 on most sports books. So I'm just banning Seattle altogether. Perfect. And in terms of this game, over 7.5, just because I feel like it's a low number and maybe these two teams can get something going. Seattle's hit the over in 6 of their last 10 games, and the Angels have hit the over here. They're 5-4-1 to the over in their last 10 as well. So maybe we can get 8 runs between these two, but I don't know. I'd be tested here to break my own ban if Seattle had better odds, because I do think that they win this game, but I'm not touching it with those odds. No sir-ee. San Francisco taking on Cleveland. When I first saw this and who was pitching, Cobb on the mound for San Francisco and Gavin Williams on the mound for Cleveland, I really thought under right away because neither one of these offenses is really scaring me as of late. But then we look at, yes, San Francisco had a good series against Colorado, but look before that, they had a bunch of 0 runs, 1 runs, and Colorado I don't put too much weight into. But the point I'm trying to make is then I look at where that line comes out at 7.5, and it's like, come on, man. So, I kind of throw away the over. I guess I'll just lean towards the better pitcher, who I do believe is Alex Cobb. Again, neither one of these offenses really makes me shake in my boots. So I'll take the team that, has the better pitcher here in San Francisco. Right now, the odds are looking at minus 142 over on DK. Like I said, have to throw out the over. Kind of bummed about that. Or the under, rather. Have to throw that out. All right, next up, we got the Dodgers taking on the Padres. Before we do that, guys, make sure to comment the word rivalry. We got a rivalry game here. We got a couple of rivalry games on the slate today. Red Sox, Yankees, right? So we're not giving you a number. Yes, it's 18 minutes into the video, but comment rivalry if you are still watching. And you know what? Doing this right off the top here, rivalry, if you use that code, you'll get 25% off the Fade Me store today. So use code rivalry at checkout, 25% off, and go support what we're doing here by picking up some merch. But yeah, if you want to show that you're a real one and an OG, make sure to comment rivalry if you made it to this spot. People will be like, what rivalry? What are you talking about? And you guys know that I love when we get the question marks or why is everyone commenting that? It's like, if you know, you know. Sorry, Guppy. But here we go. We got the Dodgers taking on San Diego here. Dodgers really kind of been in a slump as of late, but that's just because they did face a Miami team that was heating up. Prior to that, they had to go up against the Braves, who obviously were hot. San Diego been kind of up and down, but they've had a tough go in terms of a series. And this total sitting up at 10 now. It's moved. It's at 10 over on FanDuel right now. I think that we're looking at a game in which is going to be a grind. So I'm going to lean towards the under 10 first off. Pitching on the round is going to be Avila for San Diego. We don't know who's pitching for the Dodgers, so I'd like to wait that one out and make sure. I think I saw Gavin Stone's name might be in there, but not finalized. So once that's finalized, we'll have a more of a sense of whether or not we want to roll with that. But I think I'm willing to pay some of this juice, minus 165 over on BetMGM for the Dodgers in this one. So I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers on the money line. In terms of head-to-head, they have owned this rivalry. And again, I guess you could call it a rivalry. I think they consider each other rivals. So 8-2 in terms of the last 10. The Dodgers have absolutely worked that. So I like this spot for them here. Both the teams, can play good baseball, but the Dodgers have been a little bit more, or much more consistent than this Padres team. So like I said, lean towards the under. Keep an eye on the pinned comment because that could change. But I do like the Dodgers kind of regardless of who's pitching for them. If it's some Joe Schmo, like I don't know about that, but Gavin Stone, from what I've seen, could be an okay choice. So I will take the Dodgers on the money line. And guys, that is all I have for you guys in today's video. Make sure to go check out the sponsors and the companies that I promote in this video. All of that stuff is one, to either enjoy sports betting a lot more or be able to beat the books, which can kind of go one and the same, right? So make sure to go check out those links. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'll be reading those comments, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.